turn on your mic. You press the button in the middle.
According to Zoom, it's 6:01 and we have our microphones on. So let's call the regular meeting to order, October 27, 2005. First thing we do is make sure who is here. And why don't I just go ahead and call out who's here. Paul Arlinghouse is here. We have our two new alternates, Cassandra Bresnahan and Marion Ceruzzi. We have Andrea Sotella, regular member, and TJ Maltese, regular member. Dave Conley, the chair. So we have 4 out of 7. So we have a quorum. And then we have both Cassandra and Marion here. Welcome. And I think you've met the other members previously, and now you get to see them in person. So very good. All right. And the way the other committees work is the alternates, if they are at a meeting by Zoom or in person, they're free to participate, but they don't vote unless they're a regular member or have been appointed a regular member for purposes of a particular meeting. So please do participate because we want your ideas and your energy. First thing on the agenda is to approve the agenda. It was published in the packet.
Hey, Dave, just real quick. You got to have your mouth like this close to the mic or else it's just not going to pick up on the recording.
That's so ironic because my hearing is so poor and yet this microphone is so advanced and it can't hear me. So that's kind of ironic. So do you think we need to go over that again? Maybe not.
I think we're okay.
Okay. I think the main thing is we have a quorum of 4 out of the 7 members. So second thing on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Any comments on the agenda? Okay, hearing none. Let me remind you though, the way the agenda gets generated is notes from the prior meeting. And then I prepare a list of items that have developed during the month and speak or email Jillian Rossi. And we come up with the list and then that gets put into this format. So if any of you ever have any input, please submit it. And I will email you from time to time asking for your input on certain things that I know you have interest in, but don't rely on me to do that. Please offer what you have. So we'll stick with the agenda as was published. First item is approval of the minutes. These are from the October 1 meeting. And these were generated by some AI program that the city has. Jillian, do you know what that is or how that gets done?
I don't. It's an AI software that comes with the Zoom subscription the city has. So it does a decent job of summarizing. And then Dave, thanks for adding in the details.
Yeah, we found, Jillian and I were both pretty impressed with it. Did a real nice job of recording what happened, a few mistakes. And interesting, it did not ever record
or generate in the transcription who made the motion, who made the second, and what the vote was. So we had to rely on our notes, which were accurate, to do that. But isn't that interesting what the omission of all things to omit? Anyway, but have you guys had a chance to look at the minutes? Do you have any comments or amendments, suggestions? Anybody? Looking around? Not hearing any? Well, then we need a motion to approve the October 1 minutes. Can someone make that?
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
All right, motion by Satella. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, second by TJ. Any more comment? No, then let's go ahead and vote. All in favor of approving the October 1 minutes as drafted, say aye. Okay, any opposed?
Aye.
None? Okay, motion carries. Next, we move on to public comment, and I'm going to wait for Jillian to come back into the room. Let us know if she has any other participants on Zoom. But it's public comment on that non-agenda items, and then we'll move to reports. The other thing the AI program does that the city clerk does not like is it generates something called action items, which was really accurate and really helpful. I mean, at the end of the minutes, it produced like 15 action items. Things like Andrea is going to do this. Paul promised to do this. Dave is going to call so-and-so. So it was really, and that was accurate, by the way. Emotions was not. All right, we've got Cheryl Klein joining us at 6 minutes after the hour. Cheryl, good evening. And Cheryl, just a reminder, these microphones don't work unless you press the button at the bottom of the console. All right. Jillian, do we have any participants on Zoom that we need to ask if they have any public comment? Okay, I didn't see the right place or looked at the right place.
That might just be me.
Ah, okay, okay. Well, all right, well, we'll welcome Paul and let him observe. Then we're going to move back to Jillian on her report on a couple of pending items. These are all things that we authorized in September or August, and let's see where we are. Ms. Rossi, what do you have?
All right, so I have some updates on the details that were requested for the grant match that OSAC voted to fund for 2026 for the Creek Walk Phase 6 project. So that grant match does help the city complete a 50-50 grant match for a CDOT grant that we're using for the final construction designs for Creek Walk 6. So once we have those final construction designs, we can go to construction, which is planned for early 2027. So essentially OSAC's funding to help us get that grant match will allow Creek Walk 6 to start in 2027, and the final construction design will be completed next year.
But that circles back into that budget item. Recall that we added a $20,000 line item, if only to hold those funds for this match. So do we still, should that stay in our budget for next year?
Yes, it'll be, the 20,000 will be used next year as part of this grant match.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
I didn't catch the point. Thank you. Any questions on Creek Walk Phase 6? While we have you, can we do Creek Walk 4 real quick?
Yeah, and Paul, if you want to run to the door one more time, I think someone's there. I'm sorry, I don't have the toggle key for the front door tonight. Oh, all right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Creek Walk 4, this is exciting. We have a ribbon cutting date. And OSAC did contribute significantly, I would say, to the completion of Creek Walk 4, which is not done yet, but will be done very soon. They actually opened up the sidewalk this weekend for coffin races, which was great because we had a lot of people in town. So having folks be able to use that widened trail was really helpful. Creek Walk 4's projected ribbon cutting date is November 18th. We're aiming for 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. We would love for any and all of OSAC to be there for the ribbon cutting. That would be fantastic. I know we want to do a big public thank you to everyone who contributed, and that includes OSAC. So the project will be completed before the 18th of November, and the ribbon cutting should be on the 18th, which is exciting.
I thought it was impressive how that contractor just laid into that. I remember when they were forming up the curb and gutter, they had over 20 workers on that and about 6 trucks, and they really threw the resources at it. So that's pretty impressive. Let's see. The next one, Jillian, is the Volunteers Outdoor Colorado grant application. I know I dropped the ball on that. What do you know?
Are we on the VOC grant?
Yeah.
So the VOC grant application deadline was actually extended statewide due to the government shutdown. They have not released the new deadline. So we have some extra time. I wouldn't guarantee that we have too much extra time. They might say the new deadline is next Friday. But I believe we decided to allocate this grant application for work in Black Canyon open space as
Yep.
part of the trail development. So that's what we'll be working on.
Okay. And then next, Bill Bowers. This was, if you guys recall, City Council recommended that we engage a consultant to do a community-wide survey, not just a neighborhood survey. And Kimberly Horn, is that right, was engaged to do that?
Yes.
And that's in our packet, so you may want to turn to where that is.
Yeah, I included the draft survey questions in the packet. We will have updated maps in there. I wanted the maps to be better. So we're using some maps that we're pulling from our GIS technician. He's working with Kimberly Horn to make sure they have the most accurate and clear maps on the survey. But I did include the draft in the packet, and the goal is to launch the survey after Thanksgiving. So most likely it will be out the first 2 weeks of December. And then Kimberly Horn will compile the survey results and present the data after that.
So that's still the original timeline on that. But do any of the members have any comments or suggestions on questions or layout? I know I have one, but I certainly want to get your input. Oh, I do want the record to reflect Robin Kovats joined us at 6:07. So welcome, Robin.
I have a comment. I have a friend that lives in the area. She's very concerned about parking. She mentioned it to me about a week ago, what was going on, knowing that I was going to be part of open space. What's going on with parking? It's going to be crowded. I mean, I know that's going to come out in the survey, but nonetheless, that gives you an idea of what people are concerned about.
Thank you, Marion. Anyone else on what they've read in the survey or suggestions, or is it asking the questions that we want the information to, or is there anything glaringly missing? I wanted to suggest that you've got the introductory paragraph, but it seemed like the plan over what we're talking about ought to be sooner. There ought to be maybe a reference to it, because otherwise you don't know what is the Bill Bowers open space. I think the map of it is fine, but it just seemed to me like it ought to be more upfront. And a lot of the sentences, and I don't want to be too petty about this. It just seemed like some of the sentences were incomplete. Could use a few articles. So I'll submit some changes to Jillian just for their consideration. I mean, for example, item 7, it says, what development and priorities do you support most? Development of the Bill Bowers Trail and open space. And we're talking about developing it for active use. It just seemed like they were kind of incomplete. It's like, which makes sense. The person who drafted this are people who are very familiar with this project and what the questions are. But if you're getting this as a citizen, I think maybe we just need to show it to some other people in the office. Maybe that's the way to do it. You know,
Yeah, and we have actually already received some public feedback from folks who have looked at the OSAC packet. And they agree, Dave, that some of these questions need to be more specific.
okay.
And I have mentioned to Kimley Horn, it needs to be like someone who doesn't know this area is reading it. So they won't understand any
Mhm.
acronyms or references or anything like that. So that's feedback we've already received from the public.
Okay. Any other comments? Andrea, TJ, anybody? Nope. TJ, please.
Yeah, I'm just reading through it right now and just there's a few of them like question number 10 there where there's a nice slew of options and stuff, but that's one of the few of them that isn't where you can select multiple options on there on what you would like. I think that at least if I were giving my opinion on it, I would appreciate several options to be checked there rather than just a single one.
Ah. But I was glad that it gave the full range of options in terms of leave it as it is. It could be specific too, develop a trail through the open space. That's one of the choices. Well, I think what we might do then is just urge the committee to really look at this. And if you want to offer your comments, please do send them to Jillian. Because if we're going to spend the time and money doing this, we ought to make sure we're asking the right questions and doing a good job of it. Anybody else on Bill Bowers? No?
Can I offer a deadline for that?
Oh, yeah,
Or-
please.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys could get me your suggestions or edits for this by Friday, that would be ideal. I am meeting with Kimley Horn next Wednesday
Oh,
to
yeah.
go over the draft. So if I have your input by Friday, that'll help me get my ducks in a row for my meeting with Kimley Horn.
Good, thank you. All right. Anything else, Jillian, from Parks Department right now? It's not on the agenda. I don't think so, but anything else? No? You had a good weekend.
I am wiped out, Dave. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very tired. But no, Coffin races went really well. Our team did great with the road closures. No, it was great. I don't have anything else from Parks and Rec right now.
All right. All right, we'll move on to old business. Our budget presentation is tomorrow. Tomorrow is a work session for the city council, and various committees and departments, I guess, are making their presentations. Our presentation follows the one done last year in terms of a list of accomplishments, a list of goals, and then just a few photos or maps to remind council what we've been doing. The big change, though, concerns fire mitigation. I did send an email out to all the members through Jillian's office, notifying you that the city council wants fire mitigation dollars spent on the high-risk areas first. And what it was a 6-0 vote, only one council member was absent. So I guess that's a pretty clear direction. They mean the base of Red Mountain and the base of Iron Mountain. Their motion that they adopted directs the fire department and OSAC to come back with one or more parcels to recommend an initial fire mitigation project, not Black Canyon. Mike Willie is the fire lieutenant, was with me making that presentation. Mike has been out of town for 2 weeks. He is back now. He came back late Friday. So I think our next step, but I need your input, is to meet with him and Jillian to talk about what parcels are we talking, where do we want to focus? Again, council was pretty clear in their direction, but they've punted it back to us to be very specific with parcel numbers or mapping of where we want to recommend the spending be. So in our budget, we were just using the same figure that we were given from Front Range Arborist, which was 155,000 for Black Canyon. That's higher than the Deer Creek Valley or Deer Valley open space that Parks did, but that's because it was such rugged terrain. But it's still it's the best data we have for what fire mitigation can cost, and we were approving that for this year. The idea is we're rolling it over to next year whenever we council will approve it. Because of the size of that goes back to council. But what are your comments on how do you want to respond to the council's motion? Do you want to participate in that meeting with Lieutenant Willie? What level of involvement do you think we ought to have? What are your thoughts? Yeah, Robin.
I thought at one point that we were going to have like a citizens training day on a small parcel.
Mhm.
And so it seems like that maybe has fallen off, but I'm wondering if, I'm not exactly sure what exactly that entails and what that means, but I'm curious. Are citizens allowed to then go in and do some of the small parcels? So I'm still wondering about that. So, and then I think we're going to need to have them come back in and look at the Red Mountain and Iron Mountain parcels and get a re-quote, since those parcels are very different.
I'm sorry, that last sentence, those parcels are different? Yeah.
We would need to get a different quote, a new quote for both areas, since the terrain is different.
Yeah, and the access is different and so forth. Well, sounds to me like we ought to put that back on the agenda with Lieutenant Willie. That was the concept. And I don't remember who it was. It was a couple of members. Was it you who brought it up? It was the small open space parcels spread out across various neighborhoods. They're quite small. Some are the size of the foyer for City Hall. And they're all overgrown. And so it was the concept of how do we engage our neighbors to help?
Yeah, and what would the citizens be allowed to do?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
should we do if we can?
And under what level of supervision, what would be necessary to do that? But I'll put that on the list. But I do encourage any of you who want to participate in that meeting, whether we have to publish it or not. It's such a big issue. Andrea, please.
Well, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that means they don't want us to proceed with plans to build a trail in the Black Canyon open space. Does that mean let's not do that until we fire mitigate everything else in our town before we get to that?
There
Or-
was no, I mean, I was here with Lieutenant Willie, and there was the sole emphasis, the sole point of all the comments was on, we're spending this much money, we ought to spend it on the highest priorities first. There was nothing about
So does that mean we
delaying or
don't
second
need-
guessing Black Canyon that I perceived. I'll put it that way.
I understand that. I just, it just seems like this is going to be a roadblock for that project, you know?
It seems like a what?
It's going to be a roadblock for that project. I think we don't have the budget to fire mitigate all of our open spaces here. We know, like, there's no way we can, with all the money that we have in our fund, like fund that. So we can bleed that fund dry just doing fire mitigation,
Yeah, you
right?
could.
Which, I mean, hopefully we could find grant matches, stuff like
Yeah.
that too. But, you know, I mean, do we want to spend all of our money on that? Is that the smart thing to do? You know?
TJ.
Since it's been pushed back to us and the fire department, I believe I contacted you about this a little bit too, but I'm very unhappy with council knowing about this process that we've been engaging in for multiple months and then switching at the very end. They could have, if they wanted us to do this, they could have informed us, a lot earlier and not wasted our time and the fire department's time. With that in mind.
Or the contractor's time. Yeah.
Exactly. So with that in mind, though, I think that this is a good opportunity if Mike Willie were to step up and spearhead both identifying these parcels. Since he is the expert on this, I'm not an expert on which parcels are most at risk. And I'm sure that there's funds out there where we can probably help with providing matching grants for that, but sourcing additional funding for this so that we don't have to bear the entire burden of this financially.
And I forgot to note that Judy Carnick joined us at 6:20. Judy, good evening. Thanks for.
Right.
We have everyone here. Yeah, we do. Okay. Alternates and regular members. Great. What else on the fire mitigation? The packet has the map that Councilman Shado was referring to. It's called the Wildland Urban Interface Risk. This one, if you haven't seen it. And again, his comments was pointing to everything on the west and south side of the city. But I hear TJ's comment that you'd want the fire department to say what the highest risk is. I did meet with Jillian just as part of the normal follow-up on these meetings. And the city's GIS technician, Tony. Last name is, what is that last name?
Cabrales.
Cabrales is going to do, the general request to him was, can you overlay a parcel map on the fire risk map or vice versa, so that we can dial in a bit more and see who the neighbors are. If we were to pick, say, part of Red Mountain, who are the neighbors? Who should get notice? Who may be able to join in a contract with a private contractor? And who could provide us with access? Because some of these parcels are could be accessed through the adjacent private parcels. But that's the fire risk map that we're to focus on.
Yeah, from my point, it's more than just looking at that map and picking the brightest one. There's a lot of other access issues in terrain. So for me, I'm just very disappointed that we worked with park staff, fire staff, as well as have a city council liaison on this committee that all were aware of what we were doing for a year to then get to a city council meeting and have it shot down. So I don't think it's appropriate for a city councilor at a city council meeting to dictate to us a specific parcel to go fire mitigate. So one, I think we need clarification from the city of what the process is and how to work with the city to choose and identify a site to work on, so that we don't repeat this next year.
Can I say
Marion,
something?
please.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
a couple of things. One, it's going to be much more dangerous next year because we've gotten so much moisture this past year. So fire mitigation is going to be very important because the weeds are going to be, and the trees, the growth has been such that it's going to be worse. Secondly, I think if this is going to be an ongoing thing, perfect opportunity to, and I hate to say this, write some sort of an SOP and how this is going to be done and who does what. That way you'll know who is responsible instead of going back and forth to, the city council, or is it this, is it that? I think there needs to be something, more clarity.
Well, the way to do that would be to participate in this meeting with Mike Willie, it seems to. Same as Paul's comment, we don't want to be doing this over and over. We'd like to have a process and know that the council is going to back us up. Yeah, Andrea, what are you thinking?
So a lot of parts on that map are also private property, right? And
Mhm.
so I just wanted to be clear that it's not our committee's now project to help fire mitigate all private property as well.
Correct.
So just making sure those boundaries are known.
I got
Yeah,
one.
Cassandra?
I want to say something. Hello. Okay,
So of course, we're new, so just direct me if I'm totally on a different path here. But my understanding, it was a unanimous decision from city council, so that sounds sort of black and white. However, they black and whited us on 150 towards Black Canyon. Is it okay if we come back with a rebuttal, like maybe we put in half the money now? Maybe we hear what they say and we do a little bit of that and a little bit. I mean, I just think it took like our whole steam out. I look around, I can say personally, that area is so cool. And I just think it would add so much more terrain. It loops things. It gives us like future rather than, I get it, we need to continue cleaning up what we have, but you don't want to take like all the excitement out. So I don't know if it's possible to then go back and say, so you unanimously shot down 150 towards one option. How about we, with Mr., Mike Willie, say, hey, we met with him and we're going to give a little bit to match your goals. And maybe we do a little bit to keep going towards the future, like a kind of a combo deal. Is that like how city council works, or are they going to be like, no, we said no?
I will try to be diplomatic and say, city council was extremely clear that Black Canyon, in their opinion, was the lowest priority. Say it again, the lowest priority for fire mitigation. That it is surrounded by land owned by Colorado Springs, that it is surrounded by land that has no improvements, that it has US 24 as a fire break, and that there are numerous open space parcels with a significantly higher fire risk. I think that is a fair, accurate statement.
Yeah,
They,
yeah. I'll just point out though that Judith, our liaison, was not at the meeting.
correct.
Jillian was not at the meeting. And so I felt like it was very, we felt like this was a slam dunk and there was no one really to speak on our behalf. And I think a couple city councilors had a very strong opinion, but there was no counter argument to them. And
Yeah, I will tell you, going into the meeting, I did not know.
yeah, I don't think
that-
anyone was prepared for there to be opposition.
Well, yeah, I did
And
not know.
So just,
Well, there's one critical point. So let me state it and then throw it back at you. I did not know going into the meeting that the community, the CWPP, the Community Wildfire Protection Plan that council approved, had identified Black Canyon Open Space as being the demonstration project. I don't know if those were the right words, but it was nominated to be one of the first projects done. And council approved that. This is part of TJ's argument that this has been going on for a couple of years as it slowly bubbled up. Then the Black Canyon Open Space Plan, approved in February, also identified that fire mitigation would be the first step. But those, if you could go back perhaps and listen to the tone of the 6 council members.
Well, I did listen to
Three in particular were very passionate about their opinion.
I did listen to it
Okay.
twice actually, but we just weren't prepared for it. And we had key people that weren't there who could have spoken on our behalf. And, the sad part is not doing fire mitigation on Black Canyon doesn't allow us to put something else in this year. We could have done the mitigation of Black Canyon and then come back next year and done other areas that they really feel are important. It doesn't change what we do next year, except we just lost the opportunity to do Black Canyon. So I just felt like city council was not well informed, especially with our liaison not being there to help them understand this situation. And, just because it was 6-0, I don't feel like we should say that that's, if we were actually able to make our argument, I think it could have been different.
Well, it makes sense if you're going to do, I'm kind of flipping back to Cassandra's comment. And maybe I should ask Cassandra, are you asking whether potentially it could be an option to, let's still do some mitigation at Black Canyon? Because I don't think that's an option.
Oh,
I mean, again, very clear instructions. The first mitigation dollar should be spent improving the highest risk areas of the city. that are owned by the city. So that I'm real, I understand that very clearly, if that answers your question. But back, Paul, go ahead. I don't sure.
Just one other quick question. Were any chance that two of the people that were strongly against it up for election in November? I mean, just to be
I don't
smart.
know whether.
Just, we should.
Councilman Shada was the proponent. As usual, John was very well prepared, had done his homework, already had the map in front of him, already had parcel numbers in front of him. I mean, John, that's what John is. He's well prepared. Councilman Wolf supported him. And then Mayor Graham, as he usually does, just starts going down the table here and saying, Councilman so-and-so, what do you think? Do you have a thought? And so everyone spoke.
Yeah, I understand that. That is not the way that this should work. They should not allow us to work for a year with staff from the city and with our city council liaison and then ambush us at a meeting.
Yeah.
They need to lay out to us what the process is for this and how it's going to work. Because we can spend our money on things other than fire mitigation. The city they can do fire mitigation without us.
Yep.
So if they can give us a clear path to do fire mitigation.
Well, you keep saying they, we or they. They're telling us to do it. They want us to make the recommendations. We can say no, thank you. But
Yep.
I mean, right now, that's the direction. I mean, we can ask city administrator if she has some suggestions on that, but TJ, go ahead.
What it comes down to, though, is that we rely really heavily on volunteers like us and the trail groups and stuff that will also help with these mitigation projects as well. For the smaller parcels, we could probably rely on some volunteer work, but we've spent 2 days cleaning up encampments, and we're not even halfway done over there in Black Canyon this year. There's no way that volunteers could possibly get anything like of the scale of even Black Canyon done for mitigation. So I think one of the things is, and I realize that we don't always get our way with council and everything. We can't, we're not gonna bat perfectly. But on the other hand, I think that council should be made aware either in a meeting or through an editorial in the Pikes Peak Bulletin or something like that. By choosing this track, by not doing the mitigation before the trail goes in, and the additional costs and the additional damage that that's going to do because of their decision. So I think that should be laid out in dollar terms for them as well. You know, I see where some of the council members are coming from with suddenly prioritizing some of these mitigation projects and not making us aware of it until, the very last moment, apparently. But also, I don't think that they realize that this is not a cost-saving measure of any sorts to change priorities at the very end.
Well, how do you think we do that constructively? Because that's always the question. How do you have that sort of constructive pushback? I guess my thought would be to meet with Denise Howell probably initially and kind of see what her temperature is on council. I don't know, Jillian, what are you thinking?
So my preference would be our fire department puts together a list. They have parcels outlined of their top priority parcels all the way down to their lowest priority. And they come to OSAC when they need additional funding for mitigation. Our fire department has a fire mitigation account line. They can support a certain amount of fire mitigation every year. I would rather this project be the fire department's project and they consult with experts in the field than have it be OSAC's project. That's a lot of pressure to put on this group of selecting which parcels need fire mitigated first. And I think we were in the right. We went off the Community Wildfire Protection Plan, which does have Black Canyon open space as the showcase fire mitigation property, like setting the bar for how we're going to do the rest of our open spaces. And I don't think that was mentioned at the council meeting, unfortunately. And I really wish it had been, because that plan, it had Black Canyon first, which is one of the reasons OSAC supported the fire mitigation there in the first place. So I would really like to see the fire department select their priorities, maybe even get them approved, and then come to OSAC to request funding. So again, but that would be another meeting with Mike, which I'm gonna have,
Okay.
and then other wildfire experts also.
Yeah, Judy. Oh,
Um, I think that has already been done. I think Mike is the one who said, he said it to me. He said, if you want to do a project that shows what mitigation to do, Black Canyon is the one. So my next question is, what is at the top of the fire department's mitigation list? Who's got that little Hummer? And the other thing is it like bad form, as Hook would say, to say we want to get on the agenda again with council after the elections, which is right now?
Yeah.
Because we will have certain people gone and we will have a new council president. And maybe if we are clearer and we are represented better,
More
we will be able to clarify, hey, we already did this. And Mike Willie's the one. I mean, I had a half dozen meetings with him. And he kept saying, this is going to be real bad. It's going to be real expensive. And this is what we should be doing first. Okay, now what? Why are we, I mean, I understand why we're back at this, but I don't know that we did get a fair hearing. And I don't know if it's illegal to take another
No.
run at it.
No, it's not illegal. It's how to do it in a product. You want to get to yes. So
Right.
how do we,
But if you
present it?
said, this is Michael Lilly's list, you said to go to the fire department, look what's at the top. Did you guys look at that? Have you asked Mike Willie what he wants to do? Because that's what he's told me, unless he's changed his mind in the last 2 months. So I'd like to see us marshal our ducks better
Mhm.
and make sure we get on when everybody, including our liaison and Jillian, can be there.
Mhm.
So instead of just sitting there, we can say, look, we are so confused because we thought that's what we were doing. And I do like the idea of letting it be the fire department's bailiwick, because that does get us off the hook. But I think it's super important not just to go home and weep about it. I think we have some allies that we didn't, just happenstance, we didn't use. And maybe it's time to marshal our troops, get our ducks in a row and go in here like we know what we're doing, which we do. We
Well,
just got blindsided.
then I guess we need to ask, well, okay. I will tell you one reason I didn't push back too hard is that I find Councilman Shada's comments to be spot on. If you look at Black Canyon, there are no improvements. There are no residents in danger right there. It's remote from the most built-up parts of the city. It's not listed as a high-risk zone on the map. And so if you're going to spend your dollars, where should you spend them first? At the higher risk areas. I hear Judy's comments that this is what the fire department recommended, and that's what we went with. But that just kind of ignores the map, assuming the map is accurate. Again, Councilman Shada is saying if this is the best science, those are his words, why aren't we following it? So it sounds like we need to meet with Lieutenant Willie. But I would urge any of you to join me in that. Again, if we have to post it as a public meeting, fine, we can do that. But
Why not?
TJ, go ahead.
Just because it's not populated densely around that area does not mean that it's not a threat to the rest of Manitou, though. The last time that Waldo Canyon burned down,
Mhm.
that was where it was going to burn into Manitou from that direction through that property. So I don't know where John is vetting his science from.
He called the National Weather Service and confirmed that the prevailing winds in the Manitou are from the southwest. So his argument was a fire that starts there is going to blow to the northeast into the Garden of the Gods and up Rampart Range Road. As he said, I don't want to be too sharp about it, but that's not our priority.
Well, I think that a 6-0 decision, it certainly goes against us, but it's possible to have a unanimous wrong decision made.
That's true. Okay. Well, the sense of the committee pretty clearly is that we need to push back. Do
Well,
it cons-
I don't know that pushback is the word. I
Well,
think it's, we need to,
use
no,
the-
no, I think we need to go over this again, especially with Mike. See how he feels about being the chief cook and bottle washer on this. And see if we can't get, I feel like, everybody's so excited about Black Canyon. And now we're gonna say, no, we're not gonna do that. And people are really revved up about it. We got that piece of land for the parking. That was very exciting. I mean, there's a lot of little pieces that have come together. And for us to just, well, later, there, and by the way, the Waldo Canyon fire came out of the southwest, right? And blew east, right? Am I right?
Well, but as TJ says, it was coming down through Williams Canyon
Right.
and Cedar Heights. So it was coming
And we,
contrary to prevailing winds.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it blew to the northeast. That's true, but
the other thing about this is what John Shada, or I don't think he said or didn't know, is about the number of homeless people that are camping up there, and camping means far.
Mhm.
So I don't know that he knows that.
it probably does. But anyway,
Would-
where are we?
Would we still be able to do that mitigation if a decision was reversed at some point this year?
I'm sorry.
Would we still be able to do that mitigation? Is there a window where we could go forward with that yet this year?
I don't know of any, I mean, Councilman Nancy Fortin said, her only comment was, please don't do fire mitigation during breeding or mating season. That was it.
Right,
But
'cause
so are there
there's
any
not-
are there any seasonal constraints other than that? No, I don't think there are. I'm no pro at this either, but
Can someone explain to me why this was chosen to begin with as the demonstration? I mean, it must have been a consensus with fire, et cetera, fire department. Why was this chosen?
I don't know. Does someone know?
Well, I think one of the factors was one of the main concerns coming from our residents who live near Black Canyon open space was that the development of this open space might contribute more to fire hazards rather than just staying with the status quo. So that came out pretty strongly from the public engagement we did surrounding the master plan for Black Canyon open space. And fire was at those public engagement events, talking to people, talking to members of the Cedar Heights community and other neighbors. So I would guess that that factored in to why they wanted to do that property as a showcase property. It's also smaller than some of our open spaces. But that would be my guess. And also we wanted to kickstart the Black Canyon Open Space Master Plan by getting the fire mitigation out of the way and then starting the trail construction and wayfinding and the mobility pathways.
Right, because not doing that project doesn't allow us to insert something else this year. So if we wanted to do something else, that wouldn't be till the end of next year anyway. So we're not helping mitigate any other areas by not doing this project this year.
Well, that's true, but again, council was not willing to spend $155,000 on this as the first project. That's what the issue was before council. So the motion was to not approve that and to direct OSAC and the fire department to come back with nominations for other parcels. So I think what the marching orders are to meet with Mike Willie. I would like to notify all of you of when that's going to occur and see who can attend. We may have to publish it, but we'll have more than 24-hour notice, so we can do that. But we need to, I hear loudly the suggestions on process from Paul and Marion that we ought to have a process to pick the next fire mitigation project so that we don't get blindsided again. Don't have someone say, why aren't you picking my project over some other project? So any other comments, anybody?
I mean,
Paul?
this is the only chance we have to do fire mitigation before we build trails over there.
I'm sorry.
This is the only chance we have to do fire mitigation there before we build trails.
No, the contractor, Corey Shields, was the representative from Front Range Arborist. He said quite clearly, we are accustomed to doing fire mitigation where trails are already in place. I did the walkthrough with Josh Farmer and Lieutenant Willie and Mr. Shields on that very day, October 7th. Because I wanted to walk some of where the trails are already established to get a sense of, how would you mitigate here? How do you preserve, the special aspect of this turn or this rock feature or whatever, and he seemed to have quite a bit of experience in maintaining all of that by doing fire mitigation where trails are already well established.
May I ask one
Yeah,
question?
Cassandra.
Again, I don't know what I'm talking about, so just help me. Is my understanding correct? They, city council said, we cannot do this right away. They won't approve it because they have other priorities. So does our funding, that 150, have to go towards those priorities, or we still keep the 150? We're just waiting to do it when they approve. Like, are we paying for the other mitigation
Well,
or
I
no?
gotta quote Andrea because she's the one who taught me this.
Okay,
Our job is to make recommendations to city council on major policy and expenditure items. We get to do a whole lot on the little stuff, but on the big stuff, we're supposed to make recommendations to council. So
okay,
that's-
so they
so-
said, yeah,
So given that,
Yeah.
kind of reformulate your question. Yes, we can come back and make another proposal. Sure.
or like to be respectful of their request and like you said, meet with
Mhm. Lieutenant Willie?
Willie and figure out how the fire department then would both do it and fund it. Is that right? They would fund it? And then we could say, so now that we've been respectful and have a plan for your priorities, then can we do this? Is that how that works or no? Is that sort of like a win-win? or-
Well, they want us to come back. I guess I'm not understanding how you're.
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
Robin?
So this 155,000, it would just not be spent and it would just go back into our budget. And we can put it to something else
Yes.
next year if OSAC finds something to do with that money, that money is not now tied up to go to that specifically. It just will go back into our funds. And the next time when we do come up with a lot or a parcel that we want to mitigate, then we bring it to council and we go through this all over again. But that we're not tied into anything right now.
I guess the question is, can both things occur at the same time? Fire department mitigate their priorities, the city's council's priorities, and we then say, now that we've got the plan, now would you approve it? Like,
Now
does that work?
Now we do what?
Mitigate the thing we
Probably.
want.
Well, probably I think when city council gets the properties that are right up against people's backyards, then, and they're happy with that, then they would probably say, okay, now you can do Black Canyon.
So we can't just make a plan. We have to complete the plan.
We got to come back to council. Yeah.
And then, okay.
Yeah, that, I think that's very clear. But I think Robin's comments about the budget are exactly correct.
Each little part is a whole nother discussion that we get to go through. So if the fire department has an open space parcel that they want mitigated,
Yes.
they'll come to us because we're open space and it's an open space parcel and they'll request funds from open space. And then we will okay it and it'll go to city council and city council will say yes or no, just like today, whether that parcel is one of their top priorities or not.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we also have to be very realistic. The only money is OSAC's money. Fire department said they had $9,000.
But you don't get
Which
the
is,
sense, we
just
could
a-
say, here's 10,000 for red, here's 10,000 for iron, and here's 150 for black.
No, because I think that we would have to get a quote for how much Red Mountain would cost to mitigate or what parcels on Red Mountain to mitigate.
Right.
to
and we'd
just
have to
kinda
get a quote
close
for
it
that.
down. Is that the idea? Okay.
Because giving the fire department 10,000 and saying, this is what you get, that's
Yeah.
not going to help.
That won't do it. Yeah.
I guess I'm looking
Okay.
for that win-win. I totally appreciate that they're saying these are important to them and I want to do that, but I didn't know if it like, are they mutually exclusive? Can we not do all the things?
Nope.
And there's no other way of raising money for this. Is that correct?
Well, also I mean, if we're able to contract out Black Canyon in parcels, we wouldn't need to bring the contract to city council unless it's over 50,000. I mean, that could be a win-win where we do fire department recommended mitigation on Red Mountain in certain parcels, and then we have another amount allotted for Black Canyon. I don't see anything wrong with that. Why can't we do them in conjunction would be a question for me for that.
I will tell you guys that I do a fair amount of trial work and I work a lot in front of judges who are sometimes antagonistic. I have no interest in coming back in front of this council and throwing that in their face saying, yeah, we want to do 50,000 on Black Canyon next year. That is a non-starter. I mean, I'm not an expert at reading the room, but I think I read the room pretty well that evening. And when the vote is 6-0, I mean, I hear Judy's and Paul's comments. All right, let's meet with Lieutenant Willie, see if we can marshal better arguments. But I don't like wasting my time or yours.
Do you have other ideas besides that or following meeting with, is this on?
Well, I think we got to hear what Mike,
Oh.
I think we need to hear what Lieutenant
he has
Willie's
to say.
idea is.
And then make a
I
plan.
mean, as a number of you have said, you know, the fire department or the professionals on this were supposed to follow their recommendation. We were, but now it's time to revise them and try again. So again, I think let's meet. I think I'll certainly do my best to make that meeting. Want to insist on it, but I'll get the minutes of that meeting out to the rest of you so that we just can't do this one day a month, or we won't be doing anything until 27 because time just marches on. So we'll move on this. Any other instructions for me or Jillian on that as we meet with Mike? I think we've got a good number of questions here. We're going to set one up. Mike has been out of town for 2 weeks. Otherwise, we would have followed up. I mean, he left the next day for his trip. He needs a break like the rest of us. But anyway, he's back. And so we're going to set that meeting up and we'll circulate the date and time and hope anyone else can attend. Please do. Okay. Anything else? We'll close that one out for now. Close that agenda item. All right. We got there because we were on the budget proposal revision. So I'm sorry, I really can't close that out because I really want to make sure I have your approval to present this because it's tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. So fast breaking. The idea was just to roll, as Robin says, you roll those funds over, perhaps to do it for one or more other open space parcels. We're not required to. This is a budget. The way OSAC budget works, these are recommendations. Rarely are they fixed. But are there any comments on the budget presentation? If not, I'd like a motion to approve to present that because that's kind of our official request to council. Can I get?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget.
Okay, this is the revised budget that was in the packet. Thank you, Robin. Motion by Robin, second. We got
Well, second, Andrea's.
second by Andrea. Thank you. Any more discussion on the revised budget proposal for tomorrow night? Nothing else? All right. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed on the budget proposal? Hearing none. Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. Parks and Trails map update. Jillian, can I punt to you on that one a bit?
Yes, and unfortunately, I don't have the cost for printing.
Okay.
I'm sorry, OSAC. I don't have it this month. I will definitely be able to get it to you after this meeting or definitely by the next meeting. It fell off my list. So I don't have those costs.
Well, yeah. It's been busy to prepare for Emma Crawford. The lady is high maintenance, isn't she?
Yes. You're talking about the map for Chamber of Commerce? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
well,
Is that
we
still
have
in
a
a-
little bit of an update on that.
Okay.
I did talk to, James, I have his name, but I can't remember it. James at the Visitor Center, and he checked with one of his colleagues. They hand out 15 to 20 of these a month. So call it 250 a year. There, I asked about the preference of digital versus paper, and I was somewhat surprised, but he said probably digital. He said more people are using their phones, come in, are loading things on their phones. So their soft recommendation was a QR code with the city's interactive map would certainly be acceptable. Whether we want to do that only, I just think we need to canvass more people's opinion on that and see. The thought, Paul and I met with Jillian on some trail maintenance, but this issue also came up. And, you know, when you consider that we have to coordinate with the MAP, Mobility and Parking, and the Parks Advisory Board, it's going to take a little while to get this done anyway. So it's not like we're trying to go to the printer next week or something like that. But do ask around. I mean, we're one of the three parties who are revising this with Parks and Mobility, so we need input.
Can I propose like
Yeah,
kind of
please.
some kind of collaborative meeting between those groups? I think
That sounds like herding
maybe
cats.
we could do it. We can, we don't have to do it like everyone in the same room together
Yeah,
kind of thing,
yeah.
but just say, hey, Parab, like, what kinds of things would you like highlighted on a little community
Well, I
map, you
think-
know, and then.
Yeah, someone's got to run it. If it's going to be us, fine, but someone's got to run it to make it happen. So I
Yeah,
don't
mean,
mind.
I think that I would help a little,
Okay,
like, if
great.
other people want to help me too.
Yeah.
But like a committee or something, yeah, we
Okay.
can just try and get the feedback from the different
The two other committees.
stakeholders. Yeah. So Parab,
Yeah.
Parks and Mobility,
And
Chamber of
visitor-
Commerce, I don't know who's parking?
Yeah, it would be the map board. But I think what you're saying, Andrea, is a subcommittee to like work on this specific project. Cause I know Parab mentioned subcommittees also for this.
Okay.
But that could be helpful
nice.
to get it moving forward. And I'm still not a huge fan of the hard copy map because, you know, as soon as you print it, it's out of date. But I know you're giving away 15 to 20, they said, at the visitor center. So that's not nothing. But I think a subcommittee could be a really good idea for that if we wanted to, if OSAC wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be a really cool kind of community project. It'd be
Yep.
nice. Yeah.
Okay. How do you want to pursue that then?
I will email Jillian.
Okay. Okay.
Back to you,
And then, and then just get some names of folks. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And so I'll
Yeah,
reach
yeah.
out
There's
to Julie.
Marion and Cassandra, if you have
Okay.
interest in that, to do that. If you don't, you
Perfect.
don't, but, okay.
I know maps. both
Andrea,
ways.
thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Any more on the Trails Map update? Any more? On that? Okay. The rest are kind of report. Well, no, that's not true. Let's just keep going. Item F3 is the Iron Mountain Trail Repair Project. This was the mechanized work. Paul, got an update for us on that? We got some pictures too. Oh, if you can.
Let me promote you to panelist, Paul.
Okay.
Oh, this is going to be high tech, high tech.
All right, so this is a section of Iron Mountain Trail It's fairly steep. It was an old double track, and this is a picture earlier this year. The outslope's cupped, so any water that gets on this can't get off the trail and just kind of flows down the length of the trail. So after a large range, you'd see like, this channel and then all these loose big rocks. So not a fun section for me really to hike because of the ankle twisters and not super fun to bike. And once it gets cupped and channeled like this, every rain just cuts deeper and deeper. So it's just going to get worse. Just kind of another photo there, just showing how large all the dirt's was washed away down to the large gravel. All right, so they probably hate this photo. This is a photo of work in progress, so a little, not finished yet. But you can see rather than just going straight down the double track, the trail now is going left and right, back and forth from the outslope back up to the back slope. And it does a couple things. One is for drainage. Every time this takes the trail out to the edge and comes back up, it provides a drainage. So that water, this trail does slightly go uphill right here, even on the downhill section, and that water has to roll off the trail. In terms of coming up it, while it's slight, the trail is now slightly longer. So it's kind of like if you're riding your bike up a steep road and you want to make it easier, you're in your smallest gear already, and you start swerving back and forth across the road because you're actually reducing the grade as you do that rather than just going straight up. So just some more photos there. Again, this one was in progress. A little hard to see there. It never quite makes it out. Never looks the same in the photos. But just a good one. This trail going back and forth. And just, as you take the trail to the edge, it just forces that water off. So the water just can't possibly flow the whole length of the trail. There's a photo in progress. This is while they were doing some finish work. And again, hopefully some of you have seen it. It's a lot different in person, but we are looking forward to the first rain. This is on the double track section going from Iron Mountain down to Oak Ridge, and they built a series of drains, probably way overkill. So this is going to last a long time, but basically that water can't flow down that fire road and then get down to the bottom. It's just going to keep getting pushed off the trail.
I think in that section, they put in 4 or 5 of those big drains, and so it will work very well. The truck in the back is off toward Oak Ridge and
Yeah,
Crystal Park.
Yeah, so this is Iron Mountain. This is the section that they put basically what we call road to trail conversion, and then this is the section they put the water drainages on.
Yep. I mean, my take is for 17,000, that's just wonderful. That was all very rocky terrain with a lot of exposed bedrock or base rock. And the thought of volunteers using hand picks to do that is just a volunteer killer is what that would be. They would not come back. So this was, I think, money really well spent. Thank you, Paul, for helping coordinate it. Jillian, do we need a final inspection walkthrough, or what do you want to do on closing out that contract? Do you need any help from us on that?
Nope, we're good. I walked the site last week with Josh, and I think it looks awesome. And you're right, Paul, the pictures, they're good, but they don't do it justice. You really need to get out and see it for yourselves. It looks great. It's a lot better to hike, I think. So yeah, we're really happy with the work. So nothing else is needed.
Good, great. Thanks for managing the contract. October, any questions for Paul on that?
I'm just curious, how many bids did you get? You got 17,000 it costs. Did you get a number of bids that were for that?
So we
project?
reached out to 3 different organizations, and we only received the bid from Timberline.
Trailworks.
I always get Traction Trailworks and Timberline Trailcraft confused. We had 2 folks tour the site, but we did only receive 1 bid in total. So we tried, but we had 1 solid bid.
Yeah, based on, working with professional contractors in the past, I felt pretty good about that. A big part of it, the cost for them is mobilization. And they are engaged in a project, I believe in the Blogstedt open space. So they're here in town with equipment. So it was fairly easy for them to come over. They didn't have to drive across country with equipment. So a lot of times that on these smaller project plays into whether they can give you a good quote or even willing to quote based on cost to mobilize.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Do
Judy.
they do fire mitigation too? They're here. Does anybody?
Yeah, they do not.
Oh,
I'm not aware.
darn.
I don't think so. One note, so I typically ride up on my bike, but I did come back down it. And just one thing from like, user interaction, how, trail design plays a huge role in the interactions that people have on the trails. And when that was just a straight fire road, I mean, you could just let go of the brakes and go as fast down that on a bike as you dared to go. Those turns are very tight and twisty. It's not what we would call a flow mountain bike trail that allows you to go high speed. So those twists and turns actually slow down bikes. And, I think we've actually reduced any kind of user conflict in that area rather than create any kind of issue there.
Yeah. The other project was October 5. This was a combined project with OSAC and Medicine Wheel, and Corey Satella's here out in the audience, and also Pikes Peak Trail Cats. We had 18 people, and it was surprising how cold it was in the shadow when we started on that Sunday morning. But we got a tremendous amount done. We just kept going uphill and repairing or installing new drains. This is a section from Spring Creek on Inman Trail toward the Red Mountain intersection. So it was really successful, and we had, I think, 3 new trail maintenance people, and I think we treated them pretty well. Eric and Patrick, and maybe it was just 2. I thought they were new, but anyway, they enjoyed it. We had a good time. Got a lot done. Thank you. Yeah, please. Press the green button.
Thank you, Corey Satella, 216 Pilot Knob Avenue, and working with Medicine Wheel Trail Advocates. And I did want to also just add that we had another partner that was the Incline Friends.
We did.
And we are hoping to continue to do more work and include the Incline Friends, another great local group. And I just want to highlight the amount of enthusiasm and passion that we have in our community for trails. And on behalf of Medicine Wheel, and I think I can speak for the Trail Cats and Incline Friends, we're really eager to partner with the city and to do more of that. Actually, Paul and I were out scoping out some more work that we're going to be doing probably in a week or so.
Excellent.
So really pleased to do that. And thanks for the great cooperation. Thank you, Billy, and for your work getting us set up with all that.
Thanks, Corey. Any questions on that work day? Questions? Okay. Next one is more of a discussion. This was generated from a couple of things. Paul and I met with Jillian to talk about trail maintenance. I had my notes from meeting with Andrea last year about trail maintenance and how to organize it, how to plan it. And so these notes on the agenda are the topics that came out of that discussions, plural, of what we might do to address trail maintenance more on a volunteer than a paid contractor level. I don't know, Paul or Jillian, do you want to make some comments, or how do you want to address this?
Do you want us to summarize some key points from our trail maintenance meeting?
Yeah, maybe so. Let's try that. Thank you.
Yeah. So the first thing we did was we have 3 Adopt a Trail folks. 2 of them are in this room. That's Dave and Paul. And then we have another fellow who has adopted Red Mountain Trail. So we decided to connect them all together since essentially they're maintaining the same trail system. That way they could coordinate for volunteer days and projects. Another thing we did was we brainstormed the idea of a trail maintenance volunteer email chain. So if someone notices some trail work that needs done, they could maybe reach out to the listserv, for lack of a better term, and see who's available to help them with certain smaller scale trail maintenance projects. I am checking with the city clerk to find out if all of the OSAC members can be in that chain or if that would count as a meeting, or I don't know. I need to figure out if you guys can reply all to those, because I know you can't to OSAC emails, because that would breach the sunshine law. So I'm working on that. Another thought was advertising our C-Click Fix application at trailheads. And that was something Dave mentioned. Some folks just don't know how to report trail maintenance issues or really even know what to look for. So making that application more accessible, and Paul used it for the first time the other day. So congrats, Paul. And you know, that was addressed really quickly also, because we see those every morning. That's what our staff is looking at, is C-Click Fix. And we try to address those as quickly as possible. So advertising that application more, and then considering pre-scheduling volunteer work days with groups like Medicine Wheel and Pikes Peak Trail Cats. That way we have some built-in work days every year that we can count on for whatever remaining projects need done. So those were some ideas that came out of that meeting, and I thought it went really well.
The thought too would be this January, is when well, it's going to be December or January, was to reevaluate whether we want to engage RIMFE at any level or at what level for trail maintenance. That's on a paid basis, but also to get on a schedule with CATS and Incline, Friends of Incline, Medicine Wheel, perhaps VOC. January is the time to do that. So I'll make sure that shows up on our agenda. But this, as I say, came out from Paul and Jillian and me. And again, I'm going to include Andrea because I had her notes from when she and I talked about trail maintenance last year. It was just suggestions on how to organize it. So I'm roping you in on that, Andrea. You can decline and say, no, I didn't say that, but I'm giving you blame or credit here. So let's just open that for more discussion. Any comments on how things you're concerned about or want to support? Click Fix. Oh, let me explain the neighborhood anchors. I know the names of the homeowners at the end of the Inman Trail connections. This is what I call Lower Inman. So this is on Delaware. It's on south side, and Peakview. I have met 3 of those neighbors and told them who I am, and that because I'm there with a pick in my hand or loppers, and I wanted to introduce myself, and they've been very supportive. But that's what I meant by just engaging the neighborhood anchors and letting them know they can do Click Fix also if they've got a concern. They're probably going to have more enforcement concerns. A number of them use the trail pretty regularly, but they'd be the people to say, hey, we got a problem out here. And we just want to make sure, since they're our neighbors, our immediate neighbors, they know how to connect with us. So that's moving along pretty well. But again, any more thoughts or?
I'm just curious, is there a priority in the trails? Is there like, we first look at this one, that one, or do you just, people are complaining about trail A or B? How does that work? How does the
It's usually just Paul who's complaining about the trails sometimes. I'm kidding. But Paul, you do bring up really good points when it comes to our trail maintenance. And Marion, a lot of folks don't really know what to look for when they're out on the trail system. You know, our reports are normally graffiti, which is pretty easy to spot on our wayfinding signs. We do get reports of missing signage sometimes. But it is helpful to have more folks who have the trail eye out there reporting things and identifying an action plan to get those areas mitigated. We don't have dozens of miles of trail, so I think we're in a pretty good spot to get things fixed, or I get things identified and fixed quickly. But right now it's a little bit, it's kind of piecemeal for a lot of our trail maintenance.
Yeah, I think, you know, the average person is going to see something after it's become a big issue. A trail's washed out, there's a big gully on the trail, or there's a tree across it. I tend to look for things before they get to that point. So I'm able to walk the trail and say, hey, here's a spot where water's running down the trail longer than it should. And we could do a really small project to kick that water off today, or we could wait a couple years and then have to hire someone with an excavator to come in and fix it. So if we can get ahead of stuff, then it's much simpler to maintain. So that's what I'm trying to do is, you know, kind of do more of an inspection of the trail and look for things that can be fixed early, rather than after they become large issues. And then
Well,
we can kind of balance, you know, there are some projects that we're going to look at and say, wow, this really needs equipment, like what we just did on Iron Mountain. And then there's stuff that we can do with volunteers, and we want to try to do as much as we can with volunteers because it's free, right? And then that saves money for when we have larger issues that we need to bring someone, you know, with equipment in.
That's what the trail adopters, I mean, we're about to meet, Paul and I need to meet the Red Mountain ones. But we just exchanged emails on that, so we'll get that done. But the idea is that they're on those trails at least weekly, at least. And Paul and I are on our respective adopted trails weekly. So things should bubble up pretty quickly, should be identified quickly. And not become big problems. Any other ideas, Judy?
I was just going to say, is it possible to extend that adopt a trail idea? It seems like it would be so easy because people,
To where?
well, to other major segments of the trails, so that we could, I think when you give people like a job,
Mhm.
they become vested in it
Yeah.
and they want to go out there. Well, I have to check that out, you know. We haven't been out there all week. Let's go. And I think that's a great idea because now you've got an army of reporting. Sorry, Jillian.
Yeah. How,
Sounds terrible.
Jillian, how did we get the Red Mountain couple?
They had just moved to Manitou Springs and wanted to help out the trail system,
There you go.
and reached out to see if they could adopt a trail versus a park. So they kind of started the Adopt a Trail program, which is cool. And I also want to mention at the trail maintenance meeting, we did recommend or suggest that maybe OSAC could fund some OSAC members going to the Pikes Peak Regional Crew Leader Training in 2026, which will help members become trail project volunteer leaders out on the trail system. So if we're unable to connect with some of our trail maintenance volunteer groups, maybe OSAC could lead our own volunteer day when needed. So I think that could be a good use of your training budget, and it's a relatively inexpensive training to attend also.
Usually in April.
It's
Isn't it?
3 days. I think it's 2 trail days and 1 classroom evening,
Friday
so
night.
2.5
Saturday.
days. Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure it gets on the calendar. I know Jillian will get an email on it, but we'll just it's how we populate the agenda.
So is that like saying if some of us got trained, we could train other people who are not?
Yep.
Who
So
did
it's
go
for
to the
folks
class.
who have some trail maintenance
Mhm.
experience, and it teaches you how to lead crews safely on the trails.
Okay.
So, yep.
Anything on that for now? Again, we want to really percolate these ideas over the winter, so that when spring comes, we're prepared to participate in trail days and support some of the other groups. But if you run, not if, when you run into users, don't be shy about asking them if they want to participate in a trail day. Again, I think Judy's comment works. If you engage people, they become
Mhm.
vested, and away you go. Some reason I can't find it on the agenda, but we do need to acknowledge that Parks through Josh Farmer got the last of the Inneman signs up. This is on the trail junction above the middle school. Actually, it's above the main high school football field. There's a 3-way junction there, and there used to be a trail sign there to keep you from going off the trail up a hillside. And so it got a new sticker and then some new Carsonite signs. So they're not very big, but if someone's looking for direction, they can see that and go over and walk to it. It doesn't need to be any bigger than that. But Josh is the one who installed those, so thank you for doing that. Any questions on signage anywhere else? Kiosks, anything like that? Okay. We need to look at the calendar for November and December and see what your pleasure is for meetings. We usually meet that fourth Monday. But we may have some conflicts. Some of you may be traveling or have guests or would like to adjust a meeting date. So now's the time to look at that. The calendar is in your packet right now. November 24th is a Monday. Thanksgiving is the 27th of that week. I have a trial that day, and so I will be wasted at the end of that day. I'd be happy to move that, but we don't have to. It's got to be prepared for it.
Dave, I know that Judith is also unavailable November 24th. I'm also unavailable November 24th. I'll be in Iowa for
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Good for you. Well, maybe not Iowa, but good for you to take.
I will,
how about
I'll
the
also be
17th?
gone.
Are we going to be in the way of somebody, some other committee?
The 17th is wide open in November for us to meet wherever we want to.
I mean, that works for me, but what about others? I'm seeing nodding heads and thumbs up and such. Good. Okay.
Quick,
Then,
love it.
for something like that, I don't think we need a motion. I can see everyone raising their thumbs. So 17th of November will be a regular meeting of OSAC. That will be virtual meeting. That'll be via Zoom. Oh, I do need to say thank you guys for doing an in-person meeting. This is so much, it's just nice to see faces and you could see everyone quickly and it just, my brain's just not that nimble. It really works well in person. But anyway, so thank you. If that works, we'll continue just to alternate and see what people want to do. But right now, it won't be any more often than every other, and it might be every third one is in person. But don't hesitate to offer your suggestion. If you say, I want an in-person meeting for this, say so. We'll make it happen. That's November then. December 22nd is the Monday. Christmas is the 25th, same week. Right now, Monday, the 22nd would be our meeting day.
Don't we usually not have an actual OSAC meeting in December?
Well, I have to remind you guys that I'm still a new member, so you
Well,
have to tell me.
This is
what-
why I'm saying, I think early in December, we usually would have a party.
We have a get together.
And,
Yeah.
Houses.
but no
And
meeting
others.
in
Hey,
December.
we had a very nice one last year at the Carnick's house and almost, I think everyone attended. And that worked well, but so you think we did not do a meeting?
I don't think we do a
Well,
meeting
if
in
we-
December.
If we needed something, we could do a special meeting. We can always call that. Okay. Well, I'd be up to follow that suggestion for December. Okay. So no regular meeting in December, and we do have the leeway to not have a regular meeting if there's not sufficient business. If there is, we'll call a special. Give some thought to someone hosting us in December. Don't have to make that decision tonight, but that really went so well. I'd sure like to do that again. Anything else? Future agenda items, again, I'll look at our notes from tonight. We'll certainly have a follow-up on fire mitigation. We may have follow-up on the VOC grant, just to let you know where that stands. We get any more feedback from council, and make sure we share that with you on fire mitigation.
I just have a clarification. Who applies for the grant? Is somebody on this committee? Well,
No, well, it's the city of Manitou.
oh, I
Gone
see.
under, and so those things, those official actions come through the Parks Department.
Is this the map you were showing?
That's it.
Okay. I just wanna make-
Dave,
Please.
my bandwidth has not allowed it, but I know the whole West End
Yes.
is still a strong interest by many people who live in our neighborhood. And some of
They
you
s-
who are here tonight might want to jump in with your interest or not. But the Jenkin and Walton properties, and what I've learned through some of my neighbors is that the Waltons are planning to sell the home that includes 20 acres to one of their grandchildren. And you and I emailed and did a little bit of talking about maybe trying to meet more informally. And then when I threw that out to some of them, they said, well, that could take forever to meet individually or in pairs, and so the other idea then at that point was a survey that maybe some of those people. So one of these neighbors put that out to three of the kind of more active people, and only one of them said that they would help somebody else, but they didn't want to take it on themselves. So I just want to like get that back on our radar and have it on the agenda for next time, but also I plan to, get back with you, but if any others here have ideas on how to collect the neighborhood's interest, but I know that, just from talking to the ones, several that I've talked to, we would like to have some access to, the Waltons properties and continue to walk on those. The city has, I guess they have, what do you call those roads?
An easement on roads?
Yeah, easements or fire roads or whatever. And that's what we usually walk on. But if they're going, the concern is that whatever the family's going to do, and there's like 5 children involved, so it's not just one, but Dave, I guess David is the son who lives in Woodland Park, and he kind of knows, what's going on with that property. I have not heard so much about the Jenkins again. I don't know if you know any more about
No.
that, but still the feeling that I get, and it's more than a feeling, they're very concerned that things are going to just move and we're not going to get anything because we haven't,
What is the ask? What do people want? Like they want the
they
city to
want
buy the property?
access. Well, they know that's not possible.
Well, so
But
what
I
do
mean,
they
the
want?
suggestion is like, is there something the city can offer to these, to the property owners for some access? Like maintenance of those roads or whatever. And I guess they're already doing that. So I don't know. But, right. And I guess this one, they did sell some of it to, I forget the guy's name, but he's been putting up signs and acting like he has,
Oh, that'd be Michael Foos.
yeah,
Okay.
and that he can tell us, residents, no, you can't come up here. But the Waltons had already given permission for that. But because one of those roads goes right past his property, he was trying to forbid people to come through there, but that's the fear.
We need to find out if there's already public easements up there, right? I was under the impression that there are not public easements currently for those roads.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what.
sorry, I can't hear.
Public easement.
Sorry, I think it would be good to know if like, are there actually public easements on that road already? Because it's my impression that that is not the case, that they are private.
my
They're all
impression as
private
well.
roads, yeah, with no
I will-
easements.
I would tell you my problem, my personal problem, taking a lead on that is I don't understand the properties and I don't understand what the West End neighbors want. And to me, it's because I don't know, I'd support a community survey. What do people want on the West End? Because my problem in talking to people is you talk to 5 people and you get 5 very different projects that they want to see the city pursue. And if we could get the
Right.
West End neighbors to coalesce around something, maybe you could get some traction and go somewhere.
So
Again,
is there
I-
any way
I
we could
can't
do
lead that
another,
because-
can we
Okay.
kind of head up a survey?
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Can we head up a survey regarding that?
Can we? Sure, we have the power to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that seems like what we should do, in my
Okay.
opinion,
Well, but I need to be real
because
clear.
of how long it takes.
I'm not taking the
do-
lead on this because I don't have enough background and I
Huh?
will say it and I will get 12 emails or 4 phone calls, which would be fine. I've asked a few people, I'd like to go hike with you up there because I don't have a clear sense, I don't have any sense of where the trails are that aren't trespassing or that are trespassing. I mean, Paul has described, well, you go up to the tank and you take the social trail on the left. Well, I just haven't done it. He has, great. But I don't have enough knowledge to take the lead on that. That's me. I happen to chair this
I know.
committee.
Yeah.
So how can I help move it along? One of you needs to pick this up because I don't have the knowledge to do it. And by the time I get up to speed, probably be too late. But Andrea, please.
I'm not volunteering.
Okay,
But-
you already have for
Yeah.
something else tonight. So
Well, one thing is like, yeah, if they do subdivide because of lots of kids, maybe then the city could ask for an easement. So that could be a solution, but, the other thing is, I mean, just to have a survey of like, hey, what does everybody over here want to have? Like, I mean, I want to have a zoo. Like, it's like a huge open-ended question. You know, I don't think there's any question about whether people in the whole town want access to those trails. I mean, I think
I
it's,
mean, that's, yeah.
except for the
that's
private
general
landowners,
impression
yeah.
I have is everybody wants some access.
So it sounds like you want to help identify someone maybe from the city or from this committee or somebody that can help move this question forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could help with, if we did, if we decided to do a survey, I can help with that. I just couldn't prior to now. And,
How many people are involved up there? I don't have any idea. I mean, is it
well,
50?
the
Is it
whole-
100?
I mean, it's a lot of us.
Yeah, the neighbors.
I mean, all the neighbors
Well, I know,
like
but
to use it.
how many do you think that is?
Well,
Ms.
I
Rupp?
mean, this is all the people that showed up at the MAC about 2 years ago when Adventures Out West wanted to develop the Walton property into a campground.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of people opposed to that, and they all showed up, and we probably had maybe 100 people there that night. I'm not good at estimating numbers, but were you there, Dave?
no, but I followed that pretty closely. So
Right.
yeah, easily 100.
And so there is a lot of opposition to developing it. And then I was out of town during all that Jenkins stuff, but
Last summer, a
Yeah.
year ago.
I know that, I mean, there's some support for some kind of road being built there just to give like an evacuation.
Yeah. That's
outlet,
one of the 4 or 5
But
ideas.
there's a lot of opposition though too, to if that's like means, housing development. I don't know, whatever that was about the city and whoever else, was it Anschutz? I don't know. I don't know enough about that because I was out of town and for several months at a time, so I didn't follow it. So
Well,
I don't know where that can go, but did you meet with the Jenkins people?
Oh, I did April a year ago
And also with David Walton?
with
Yeah.
Tim Beeson. We met and
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
to him, and Dave Walton. I think we reported to the committee on that, but Dave Walton, again, very clear. I think it's hard not to read him otherwise. He's extremely weary of Manitou Springs. His family has made 3 or 4 proposals in the last 20 years, and they weren't just shot down. They were shown the door and told basically that don't come back. So he's very weary. So what he said to us, to Tim Beeson and me, was, if you want to make a proposal, you can make a proposal.
To him?
With about that tone of voice in terms of welcoming one, but that he was open to say, I mean, he was cordial and he met with us. He did explain that when his father passes away, and he died this June or July, Harold, that the
You're talking
estate,
about Walton now, aren't you?
I'm talking about Wald.
Hey, Dave, I'm gonna butt in. This needs to be an agenda item. This is too much discussion
Right.
for, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It'd be helpful for us to have this on the November agenda.
Yep.
We are
Okay.
on future agenda items.
Okay, we can do that.
And I do have a request from the Garden Club to be on the November agenda. They'd like to present their plan for their garden that they're going to be putting in at 121 Pawnee Avenue.
This is the pollinator garden that was approved about 4 months ago or
Yep,
so.
they want to show off their plan. It's pretty awesome. So they'd like to be a short presentation for that meeting.
Great. Pollinators. Any other ideas for the agenda? We have Cheryl's. We're gonna do it November 17. Virtual. Okay.
Can I ask just one
Yes,
question?
Robin, please.
So next spring, when I'm out on the trails, am I allowed to pick the mullein?
Please pick the mullein.
Okay,
Yes.
and I was gonna bring a trash bag, pull the mullein and take it home and put it in the landfill and not my compost.
Well, it
If-
depends. If the mullein hasn't gone to seed, you can put that in your compost. If it's just the leaves, what you wouldn't want is to put the seeds in your
Okay.
compost. And it's gone to seed when it grows up kind of like corn and it has all those little pockets with the 20,000 seeds that it has.
Yeah, do they get the seeds before it flowers or?
So the seeds are after it flowers. So it has
Okay.
those pretty yellow flowers. And then right now they've all gone to seed.
Yep.
So they turn brown in the fall.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want you to be careful with mullein. The seed bank for mullein, if the seeds go in the soil, they could last 100 years. So that's why it's so important to get rid of them. Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Anything else? Let's do a motion to adjourn. Can we do a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
By Robin, a second by Judy Karnak. Thank you. All in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? All right. Thank you, guys.
No problem. It's an agenda item.
Yeah.
Very good.
Nobody else offers a credit.
Okay, let's see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, that was very gracious of you to do that.
No, it's fine.
And have a good success too. Both.